front end update. Steady progress here. Quite a lot of lessons learned. I'll discuss some of those. But very pleasing with where I am at the moment. That brass union joint came in, and I was able to fit up the fuel line from the fuel tank to the fuel filter. We'll talk about the fuel filter in a minute. The pipework, once it was connected up, seemed to be standing proud. So I fitted a standoff clamp. I'm pretty sure there's nothing in this area that's going to cause too much of an issue. The rounding of the pipework is what it is. The fact that it now stands a bit proud, I don't think it's going to be a problem. We'll find out a bit later. I'll deal with it if it is, but it just seemed logical that it should do that. This is the actual fuel filter. Connected up. This side will go to the carburetors. Come on round. This side will go to the carburetors when the engine gets fitted. This bracket is easy to get the wrong way around, so you want that bracket connected into that bolted joint there on the subframe, and you want that bracket sticking up. So I had that apart a couple of times to get everything aligned, and my photos were good in that area, but it wasn't so clear as to exactly does that bracket go up or down. This came in, and this is actually a Series 3 part. It's exactly the same as the Series 2 part. This is the starter relay, except it's actually bolted, this flange is on the opposite side. So if I had actually connected it to this side, it would be upside down. I didn't trust my ability to be able to rewire it correctly with it upside down. So what I've done is I've bolted it so that it's on this side. I rearranged this bracket so that I could do that. And the wiring connections are going to be exactly the same as the S2 relay that came off the car. So it was just an interesting find. I don't know why they did that, but I want to be consistent with the position of these terminals so that it makes it easier for me to wire up. I put the choke cable in. I don't think there's a time that's early enough to put it in. Almost immediately after. So I decided originally that I didn't even think about it. I put the grommets in and everything, but I didn't put the cable in. And I just didn't want to be dealing with this long cable for too long. But when I actually decided to then put it in, having got everything else going, again, I had to take all this out. So I could get access to that top hole. And then on the other side, this is the routing for that particular choke cable. I will start to do the choke mechanism in a little while. Okay, I do not know how you get a grommet in there. So, supposed to be a grommet there. There are two cables, and they barely fit through that hole. So anybody's got any ideas about that, let me know. So the throttle pedal assembly is all hooked up. You press the pedal. The mechanism is kind of an interesting mechanism. There's a lot of areas where there's play or restricted movement. So very interesting to me. Anyway, this all works. It's got its own return. There's a locking tab which is related to this. I haven't locked that off yet. I'll do that once the engine's in and everything else is set. So this will be one of the last checks. This other bracket here is part of the throttle linkage as well. And that's actually quite tricky, the sequence associated with that. This is a clutch pipe. I'll come back to this in a second. But fitting this, make sure that you have this pivot point connected in before you assemble it. It's easier on the bench than it is in the car, in my view. This clutch pipe is attached to that bolt. That bolt is against that bulkhead. Getting all of this to line up, it looks nice and neat, but getting all of that to line up took a little while to do. So this is before I mentioned that I was missing a set of hydraulic pipes that went across the bulkhead, and I incorrectly called it some of the brake lines. It's not, it's to do with the clutch. These came in, so now I've actually got all of those in. This clip bolts in through that subframe bolt. Nothing that complicated, it's just, it all takes time. And then this pipe wraps around the pedal box. I'll come back to the pedal box in a second. And you can see the routing for that. So I'm actually quite happy that that's in, and that this master cylinder for the clutch is all sealed up. Okay, this pipe goes down to the reservoir. The reservoir sit on the subframe. Now I made a mistake on my old brake servo. It's got a union that sits on top of there, which is different to this, and that union you can't actually get. You can't buy a brand new one. So I've tracked one down through Welsh, and they're going through all of their cores to be able to send that to me. When I get that, I'll fit that, and then that has a pipe, another hydraulic pipe that comes from here down into here. This other connection, which is still to be made, is related to the front brakes, and I'll fit the piping for that once I put the picture frame structure on, and mount everything at the same time. I fitted the vacuum tank, excuse me, water tank's on the other side. The vacuum tank bracketry, just so that it wasn't set on my bench. There is a relay that I think it's for the flasher unit, which is still to be fitted. I know I have to fit that. I'm sifting through parts to be able to locate that. I can't find it in one of the boxes at the moment. It'll turn up. Okay. Now, one thing that I might need help on, so I'm putting out a request here, is just make sure I get this in line. Right, so you have two pipes coming from the back of the car. One is for the brakes. The other one is a vapor line for the fuel tank. It's like a fuel tank vent, I think. And I have both of those correctly positioned in. But when I went to fit this hose, the original hose was blanked off. And I went back to my pictures, and I remember this, and I'm like, well, what is that for? It's obviously connecting up to something. In the original car, let's see if we can get a better view of this. In the original car, this unit was not connected to anything. And when I looked in the parts manuals, etc., I couldn't really find anything, especially when I wasn't knowing what I was looking for. However, when I position that on the car, it's actually connected to the subframe. That little line there at the top, this bad boy here, just happens to line up with the height of that, where that hose would be. I don't know what this is and what this is connected to. This seems like it just goes to ground, like a vent. I don't know, but it wasn't connected up in the car at all. And then it obviously had been connected in the car at some point, but this was cut off. So I've got no idea where that goes. So if anybody knows anything about that, then please let me know. And then I will fit it as necessary. Right, as I said, it goes actually in here. There's no rush to do it because there's plenty of access at the moment. All right, and will be for quite some time. This is starting to look good. It's a lot more work than you think, right? So a lot of detail, chasing down stuff, researching the photos, trying to reposition everything. I took the car apart 2 years ago, so, but it looks fantastic. There are some absolutely excellent photographs online of finished vehicles that have been an absolute treasure. I did take plenty of photos. I didn't take enough photos. That's always the case. And then when I went online to find specific things, I was just very pleasantly surprised at what I was able to find. So I'm very grateful for people that do that. Clutch and brake pedal assembly has been fitted from the top. I just wanted to show you the view from underneath. You can't fit these pedals. You can't fit the pedal box in place through the aperture with these pedals in place. So you have to actually disconnect them. It's a nut on each side that pops off. And then you just reattach them when it's actually in. So everything looks very tidy coming along. So we'll soon be doing this. Anyway, there was a really nice comment on why this pedal is not covered and is just plain metal, and that's because when you have your heel and you push down, your foot slides relative to the pedal itself, and they wanted a smooth surface to do that. I wasn't aware of that. It was an interesting fact to find out. I'm just grateful it's in and it's working right now.